Hello, and welcome to this IT Pro Live session presented in association with Pros. My name's Adam Shepherd, Reviews and Community Editor for IT Pro, and today we're going to talk about artificial intelligence. The advent of big data, distributed computing, and machine learning has ushered in a new age of artificial intelligence, but how do we translate this into practical business realities? What kind of AI systems are out there? How can they be implemented within business to achieve actual results? And how can businesses make sure they're doing this in a streamlined and cost-efficient manner without having to invest huge amounts in research and development? Here to help me answer these questions is Pro's Chief AI Strategist, Dr. Michael Wu. Michael, thanks for joining me.
My pleasure.
So, Michael, let's start off with the basics. How do you define AI?
Yeah, the definition of AI is actually, I would say, it's quite hard to define AI because the definition of AI actually changes over time. And I think that, some people actually said that, AI is whatever machine can do now that they couldn't do before. And there's some truth to that. If you take an example like optical character recognition, when it came out, a lot of people think that it's actually AI because, machine can now all of a sudden read prints, and not only can it read prints, it can read handwriting, not only my handwriting, but your handwriting and everybody else's handwriting as well. So people thought that was AI, but optical character recognition today is actually in a capability that's in every single cell phone today, right? And nobody thinks it's AI anymore. So before I would define AI, I would just ask that you take this definition with a little grain of salt, So I would say that the way I like to define AI at this time of our history is that it's really a machine mimicry of human behavior with two very important characteristics. One is automation, meaning that it's able to automate decisions and actions of a human being. And then the second is the ability to learn. And that means improving its performance with usage. So every time you use it, it actually gets better at what it's doing. So right now, at this, I would say in the recent years, this is I would like to define AI in this way.
So what's the difference then between artificial intelligence and machine learning in your view?
Yeah, a lot of people actually use these terms synonymously, which is not correct, and I think largely this is due to a highly popular image that's been circulating around in the internet. And that image is a Venn diagram basically of machine learning, deep learning, and AI. Basically it says that deep learning it's a subset of machine learning, and machine learning is a subset of AI. So machine learning is a kind of AI, which is actually not quite true. But this picture is actually not completely wrong either. It's actually, you can find this picture even in Wikipedia. So it's not completely wrong, and it just needs to be, I would say, interpreted correctly. And the correct way to interpret this picture is that, in fact, deep learning is a kind of machine learning, but machine learning is actually not a kind of AI. Okay, machine learning is kind of placed inside this Venn diagram, of AI, is because machine learning today, is actually used in every AI system. Okay, so it's much like, I would say, an engine. Every engine is used in every car today. So really deep learning is a kind of machine learning, and machine learning really is a part of every AI today. Okay, so that's actually the correct way to interpret this picture. And if you interpret it incorrectly, you may come to the wrong conclusion that if a lot of wrong conclusion that that's actually really, I would say, ridiculous. For example, I could say that V8 is a kind of engine, and the engine is used in every car, right? But if you misinterpret it, you could come to the wrong conclusion that the engine is actually a kind of car, which is incorrect, right?
So if machine learning is only one part of AI, then what is it that makes AI truly smart?
Yeah, what makes AI smart is really, the second characteristic that defines it. It's its ability to learn, okay? But how does this actually work? Really, if you think about, AI, the input to this system is really data, right? And because, machine learning is a part of AI, it's a component of AI, right? So these data are fed through this component called machine learning. And machine learning is really a process of turning these data into a model. And once you have a model, basically when you feed it with new data, basically, there's some output, and humans have to look at that output to make decisions, to take actions in the real world. Right? And these actions typically have consequences and outcomes that need to be fed back in order for the machine to work well, right? So when you actually have these feedback data that gets fed back into the system, ideally you want this system to be operating in real time, okay? And when this happens, that means you can also take all the data of this feedback that gets feedback to your system to feed it back to your machine learning as well, okay? Once you feed this data back to your machine learning component, that means now you have more data feeding into your machine learning component, right? You have new data that's feeding into your machine learning component. And as a result, you have a way to update your model. Your model is actually now changed, right? Remember, machine learning is a process of turning data into a model, right? But now you updated this big data that you had before with these new data, these new feedback data, right? Now all these data get fed into this machine learning component, and then basically now you will get a new model out, right? And this new model will be better than the previous model because now you have seen more data, you have more data as input, right? And whatever prescription or recommendation that they give you will be better than the previous one, right? So this feedback loop, right? It's sometimes we call this learning loop. Is actually how AI learns. It's actually how it becomes smart.
So what kind of business functions and tasks can AI systems currently help enable and help accelerate?
Well, I mean, I would say that, that's a good question. I get asked a lot, but I think it's a wrong question to ask because, now that, basically AI, all AI needs is really a data feed, okay? As long as you have the right data that's necessary to train the AI to learn and mimic what humans do, basically the AI can pretty much do whatever a human can do, right? So right now, today, I would say AI cannot do a lot of tasks that humans able to perform. It's not because there's some inherent limitation in what AI is able to do. It's really because the fact that we don't have the capacity or capability to record certain data that may be biological, maybe inside our head, maybe inside our brain or something. So we don't have the capability to digitize those data yet, okay? So as a result, we don't have the raw material, we don't have the input that's necessary to train this AI, right? So as a result, it cannot actually perform these tasks. So I would say that, the right question for business to ask is really, what kind of process can you really digitize? That is really the question. Because once you're able to digitize a process, then you really can, I would say, pretty much digitize. You'll have the data to train AI to mimic whatever a human do in those processes.
So, Michael, where did AI come from?
Well, I mean, so formally, I think it came from the study of computer science, where I would say one of the pioneer in computer science, Alan Turing, asked the question, whether a machine can exhibit intelligent behavior like human being, right? And that actually evolved into this discipline that becomes artificial intelligence today. And so that's kind of, I would say, esoteric, like if you talk about computer science, but I would say from a business perspective, the best way to understand where AI come from is really to understand the evolution of business analytics, okay? So this history is actually very, very simple. If you look at business intelligence, right, I would say BI, it basically have started out as a system that simply summarizes, I would say, business operation data that you have, right, to help you make decisions, right? But BI basically is a I think everybody knows what BI is, right? These dashboards that help you present data to you to help you make decisions, and this is what we call descriptive analytics, right? So these are systems that basically summarize historical data that you have, right, and just present it to you, right? But then BI evolved, right? BI actually evolved to move on to something, I would say, into an area that we call predictive analytics, right? Once you collected lots of data, you could use those data to start to build some kind of model, and these models can actually start to forecast and make predictions in your business processes, right? So that's what we call predictive analytics, right? And one of the things that's really advantageous once you have the ability to see the future, right, to make predictions and forecasts, right, is that now you can also tell people what to do, right? If you, for example, if you know tomorrow is going to rain, right, then you would tell people that maybe you should bring an umbrella or something like that, right? So these are the advantage of being able to forecast, right? Then basically BI evolve again, right? They evolve from descriptive to predictive, right? And now you can evolve into what we call prescriptive, where these systems is able to prescribe you actions to take, right, in order to optimize some business outcome, right? So so that's a very short history of, I would say, BI, right? And you may ask, like, what's next, right? And what's next is really the beginning, the inception of artificial intelligence, okay? And basically now, since I'm able to tell you what to do, right? So what's the obvious next step is, like, why don't I just do it for you? Right? Why don't I just make those decisions for you, right? So that is actually the beginning of AI, right? So the inception of AI is really the ability to automate this human decisions and subsequent actions.
So, Michael, can you tell me a bit more about the different types of AI that are currently out there?
Yeah, sure. I would say that, because all AI need is really just data, right? So and because today we really have a lot of data. We're in the age of big data today, right? So there's for every kind of data that basically you could build a kind of AI. So there's literally, I would say, thousands and tens of thousands of AI applications out there. But I would say that there's four types of AI, there's four classes of AI that's very important today. And let me just go through each one of them with you. Like, so the first one I like to go through is internet AI. And that type of AI is very familiar to people. Obviously, through our behavior, surfing the internet, right, we generate lots and lots of data, right? So if you feed all these behavior data, surfing, browsing, data on the internet to an AI, right? Then the AI would be able to learn your preference, what you like, what you don't like, what kind of content do you read, what kind of movie do you watch, and all that, right? What kind of product do you buy, right? So all these data basically is able to teach the AI to train a model for predicting what you like to buy, what you like to watch, what you like to listen to, right? What music do you like, and all that, right? So basically, that's the first class of AI, right? The internet AI, and sometimes I would say these type of AI is sometimes called personalization AI because they are used in today. I would say the biggest application today is in what we call recommender system, which is used a lot in personalization. Okay, and so sometimes they call personalization AI as well. And I think this is a very well understood type of AI. A lot of people if you shop online, you know it, you've seen it, right? If you watch movie online, you've seen it. All these are recommender systems to recommend product or content for you. It's basically this instantiation of these type of AI. And the second one that I like to talk about is very popular these days is called perceptual AI. Now, perceptual AI, the biggest application of perceptual AI is in human-computer interaction, okay, HCI, okay. And really, there's no surprise there. You know, these perceptual AI, they're basically, think of them as chatbots and digital assistants, okay. So a lot of them you're very familiar with. If you use an iPhone, you have Siri. If you use Android phone, you have Google Assistant, right? Or you have Alexa, right? So all these are, I would say, examples of these perceptual AI. Now, perceptual AI is sometimes also referred to as a cognitive AI or cognitive computing because they mimic these higher cognitive functions of a human being, right? Such as speech understanding, visual recognition, voice recognition. So these are thought to be, I would say, functions that only a human is able to perform, previously. So these are, cognitive functions. And so these perceptual AI is sometimes called cognitive AI. Okay. Now, the third class that I like to talk about is autonomous AI. Okay, autonomous AI, the biggest application today is obviously the self-driving car. I don't think that will be always the case in the future. I think that in the near future, these AI will be used to power other autonomous systems, such as drones or robots or other things. So this is a area, huge development in the future. So that's I would say the third class. And the last class is what we call business AI. Now, business AI is actually quite diverse, because there's so many different business domains. And they're also less familiar to the end consumers because they typically are used in business by business users. So the everyday consumer actually don't see them in action as much, because they usually work behind the scene, to make certain business processes more efficient and more effective. So that's, I would say, the four type. Now, the business AI sometimes is also called decision AI because the biggest applications of these business AI is, I would say, in what we call business decision and automation. Right? Basically, you automate a decision that a business has to make. Right? So that would be the four types of AI. That's I would say very, very important today.
So, Michael, what impact could current generation AI research have on the future of business processes?
Yeah, I would say that, there's a lot, obviously, if you just look at the four types of AI, there's actually a lot that you can actually do for business, okay? So I have actually boiled down, tens of thousands of AI applications down to four major categories for you. But I would like to just say that, these AI can have, every type of AI actually can have a very different business impact. But I would like to summarize that a bit as well, to basically boil it down to a few, right? So there's actually three very important business outcomes that these four broad categories of AI is able to drive. And one is actually, I would say, improving user experience, okay, customer experience. And obviously, the perceptual AI and personalization AI or internet AI can benefit that a lot. Okay. The second thing that these AI can do for you is obviously in making your business processes much more efficient and much more effective. And this is actually a very crowded space. I would say that a lot of AI out there is actually built to make certain business process that are slow and efficient, make them more efficient and more effective. And the last business outcome that is able to drive is obviously to help you drive, I would say, improve drive revenue and improve margin and drive your top line. And that often comes in the form of business AI, because remember, the biggest applications of business AI is in business decision automation, and you perform better if you make better decisions, right? So usually that's how you define what better business decision means, is that it performs better. Now, in terms of, I would say, current research, right? I mean, I would say, with the current pandemic, there's a lot of, I would say, adoption and need for AI, in the future, and some people would say that, AI will catalyze the fourth industrial revolution, and we can see how this will play out, because in the first, like I would say, first like two industrial revolution, the invention of steam engine and the use of electricity, right, have basically created a lot of mechanical machines that is able to replace a lot of, I would say, labor work, right, with these machines, right? So, and now imagine, now we have these machines that are not only able to replace our sheer labor force, right? It's able to replace our intelligent decision as well, right? I think today a lot of our work basically boils down to making the right decision to execute certain actions, right? Now, if even the decision certain decision can actually be automated, then basically this will actually change the way we work very, very dramatically, right? And I would say, in the near future, let me just give you an example, right? So in the area of autonomous AI for robotics, right? With the pandemic going on, right? I mean, I think there's a lot of very interesting use cases of this, because obviously robots, they're not contagious, right? So unless they're touched by someone, right? So they don't get sick, they don't carry virus, right? So they also are fairly easy to disinfect and sterilize, right? So we have seen cases where in certain hospitals these robots are starting to help take vitals for patients, maybe fetch food and medicines for patients. And very soon, I think they will start to deliver product and I would say food, to homes, right? Because more and more people are actually going online to make an order, right? And then they have these items delivered to their home, right? And I think in the future, these robots can start to deliver, I would say, these product and these to people's home. And I think that, in some select cities in the Bay Area where I am, robots have, these type of delivery robots have already been used in, I would say, various cities as an experiment. And I think this will only increase in the future.
So, Michael, are there any examples of how academic AI research has impacted the commercial side of AI?
Yeah, there actually has been quite a lot. I mean, I would say that for the four categories of AI application that I talk about, one is these perceptual AI, right? I mean, so one application that's actually very, very popular today is these conversational AI, conversational agents. They're able to talk to you as if they're another human being, right? So digital assistant is one of these, but there are actually many, many more of these conversational AI that's actually deployed on the web, as kind of a chatbots to help you navigate the web, right? And so these used to be, I would say, a research project, and that actually whether to kind of see whether AI is able to mimic realistic human speech, right? But once it's able to do this, using recurrent neural network as the learning mechanism, right, to model speech, then they found that now I can actually use this in automated customer support, right? So when you call in, if you have a very simple question that the AI know how to answer, it will just answer you, right? And if it really doesn't know how to answer this, if it's much more involved, then it can actually redirect you to another human being. Right, so this AI has already change how you run the support center, right? Basically, they could be the front line, right, to answer real questions. If there are simple questions that get asked a lot. Right?
So, lastly, how can businesses get started with AI? Is it something that only major corporations with extensive resources can get involved in?
Well, I don't think so. I think that today there's a lot of, I would say, AI company that's built AI to address, problems that a lot of company have, right? And they will basically sell this service, AI as a service or something to company. Basically, you just buy the product. Right? So there's I would say there's no need to reinvent the wheel, right? There's lots of AI vendors out there today, certainly in the Silicon Valley where I'm from. And I would say that the more important thing for a company to do is the first step is to make sure that you actually have the raw material to these AI, okay? And that's basically, remember, the raw material is data, right? So basically what that means is that company need to go through what we call digital transformation, right? And the first step in this digital transformation is usually what we call digitization, right? So basically turning analog processes in the physical world into digital processes such that these processes can be digitized and turned into data, right? Once you have these processes turned into data, then you will have the data that's needed to train the AI to actually mimic what humans do in those processes, right? So yeah, so there's actually lots of once you have these data, once we have these data, there's lots of, I would say, vendors out there that will actually take these data and actually be able to train the AI for you, right? And a lot of people often, ask, should you build your own tool or should you use existing product, right? And I think there's yeah, as I said before, right, there's no need to reinvent the wheel, right? I mean, you should always start with existing product out there, right? And because even though they may not solve a very, very specific problem that you may have, right? But I'm sure you can start with these products that will address a problem that every company has to deal with, right? And then once you get more familiarity with adopting AI and collecting more data, these feedback data that's necessary to train the AI, then you can actually build on top of this existing tool to solve problem that's more unique to your business, right? So, and yeah, so that's the kind of advice I would give to people.
Are there any tools and resources that organizations can use to help them get started with AI development?
Yeah, I would say that, in fact, there's actually lots and lots of resources out there. If you just do a little bit of research, there's almost too much noise out there. And a lot of those tend to be a little bit technical. And I would say that we're actually starting a video channel very soon in the near future. It's called Quantum Simplex, that will explore the business applications of these advanced technologies such as AI, machine learning, or even in the future talk about quantum computing. So that could be a resource to look out for.
Excellent. Well, I'm afraid that's sadly all we've got time for this session, but thank you very much, Dr. Michael Wu, for joining me.
It's my pleasure.
If you'd like to learn more about how you can use technology to accelerate your business, check out some of the other great sessions we've got as part of IT Pro Live.